Should you buy the Nathan Aspinall Gen 1s or the Nathan Aspinall Gen 2s? Well, let's find out. So I'm going to be putting these darts through the test. I'm going to be rating them through 5 different categories: price, packaging, looks, grip, and finally, performance. So the first thing that I will be looking at is price. Now, the Nathan Aspinall Gen 1s cost £50 and the Nathan Aspinall Gen 2s cost £90. So straight away, a £40 difference. So I mean, on price, it has to be the Gen 1s. So now let's look at packaging. As you can see, both look very, very nice, but I do think the Gen 2s do look a little bit nicer than the Gen 1s packaging. And the Gen 2s actually have something in their packaging that the Gen 1s don't. And that is this little flap, which as you can see, shows a bit more of the darts, what they look like, which having this definitely does make it feel like more of a premium product. So I think on packaging, I think the Gen 2s do win it just because it does look a little bit nicer and it does feel a lot more premium than these ones. Now the next category is looks. Let's see which dart looks a lot better in person. The dart that I'm going to start with is the Gen 1s. That is what they look like out of the box. Not too bad. First thoughts on them. A very, very clean dart. It looks simple, clean. To be fair, it actually does look quite nice. I'm actually a big fan of how the flights look. I'm a big fan of actually that design. I think that looks quite nice. It reminds me of like a cartoon character or something. I don't know why or what cartoon character, but it just reminds me of that. So that was the Gen 1s. Now let's have a look at the Gen 2s. There we go. That is the darts. Doesn't look too bad at all. Look very, very smart. I'm a massive fan of how the stem look like there's a snake going up to the flight. I think that looks really, really good. I think looking at them both, they both look amazing, but I do have to give it to the Gen 2s. I think the Gen 2s look a lot nicer. The colors of the red in the dart looks beautiful. The stem then going up to the flight, making it look like the snake. I think that looks class. So we've all seen what the darts look like. Now grip. Which dart has the better grip? So starting with the Nathan Aspinall Gen 2s. As you can see at the back of the dart, they have the ring grip. Now I personally did not find these that grippy at all. So out of 10, I would give these a grip level of a 5. Now moved on to the middle of the barrel. As you can see, it's a nice smooth bit. So I would give that a grip level of a 1. And now the front of the dart. Now again, I didn't find this massively grippy either. So I would give this a 4 out of 10 on the grip level. So that is the Gen 2s. Now let's have a look at the Gen 1s. So again, at the back of the dart, they do have the ring grip, but there is more rings on this grip than the Gen 2s. But even though there was more rings, I personally felt like the grip was the same. So I'm going to give the grip level a 5 out of 10. Now moving on to the middle of the dart, again, it is a smooth bit, so I'm going to give that a 1 out of 10. Now the front of the dart, I found the front of the dart to have a bit more grip. Not massively, but a little bit more grippier than the Gen 2s. So the front of the dart, I'm going to give that a 5 out of 10. So that means the Gen 1s do win on grip, which makes the score 2-2. So now let's move on to performance and see which dart will come out on top. So now I'm on to the final category, which is performance. So the way I'm going to do this is firstly, I'm going to throw 9 darts with each Gen 1 and Gen 2 and see which score I get. Then I'm going to play one leg against myself using each Gen 1 and Gen 2 and seeing which one performs better. I'm going to start off doing the 9 dart challenge with the Gen 1 darts. So let's see what score I get. Tell you what, 9 darts, 243. I am very, very pleased with that. Let's move on to the Gen 2s. Should have hit that 180. So I hit a 243 with the Gen 1s and then a 263 with the Gen 2s. So which means the Gen 2s win on the 9 dart challenge, but only by 20. So that is the 9 dart challenge done. Let's get into a game and see which dart comes out on top. Oh, that was terrible. Go on. Not bad leg, to be fair. 57.81 average. I'll take that. That's not bad at all. So 57.81 is the average to beat. Let's see if I can do that with the Nathan Aspinall Gen 1s. A lot better leg with the Gen 1s than I had with the Gen 2s. Wow. Tell you what, I've been performing quite well with these darts. They're really good. So as you just saw, I performed a lot better with the Gen 1s than I did with the Gen 2s. It was actually 18.2% better. So even though the Gen 1s did lose on the 9-dot challenge, it performed loads better in the game than the Gen 2s. So for performance, Gen 1s do win. So which means the Gen 1s win overall. Let me know what you thought of this video in the comments down below. And what darts should I try next? Let me know. And also, if you are new here, do not forget to subscribe. I'm trying to hit 5,000 subscribers by the end of this year. So if you are new here, do not forget to subscribe. It helps me out massively.